Hi, I'm Mike Kenverger with Tricky Fast Studios. Today I'm going to show you about the navigation system in Cat Game Builder. We're going to start with the 2D navigation and move on to 3D navigation. By the end of this video, you should be able to set up a scene with 2D navigation, make a player character that you can use to navigate around the map, and add obstacles to avoid. When we first released Cat, it didn't have a 2D navigation system. We just had the normal NavMesh-based navigation that Unity uses. Shortly thereafter, we worked on adding a simple node-based navigation system, which I'll discuss in another video. And then we added a grid-based system, which also does use nodes under the hood, but it's much easier to deal with. So this grid-based system is 2D, and it uses colliders to map out squares where you don't want to be able to walk. And then after we built both of those and integrated them into Cat, we eventually unified the API for all three of them so that any navigation movement command, or Cat, could be used with any of the systems. And that's the case today. So what I'm going to show you is how to build a 2D grid-based navigation system. So what I have here is a pretty simple scene. I've created a tile map for the background, and it has some paths on it, and it has some obstacles like these trees, these rocks, that sort of thing. I've also created a player, which has an animated body, so that we can walk around on this. Now the first thing we're going to do is actually add the navigation service. So we can do that under the services menu. Sorry, that's actually the pathing service. So pathing service has a few options here. One of them is the default pathing type, which we're going to change now. And we're going to set that to waypoint. We can also time slice our pathing using this parameter here. And we can optimize grid paths with this. And the next thing we want to do is actually create our pathing grid. So we're going to add the navigation grid component here. And there's a few different options here. We can set some colliders. We can include the diagonals, which we're going to do. We can set a name, which is default, cell size, and then we hit this rebuild graph button. And as you can see, it's built our navigation graph. Now, there's no blockers on here, so we can move pretty much anywhere. Let's make the player move. So under the player, let's add a waypoint pathing manager. So this is where we select what type of pathing this character is going to use. We've decided to go for waypoints. So we can set walk speed. We're going to use that default group because that's what we set in our grid, if you remember, group, grid, default. Animation target, we're going to set to owner. And then since we have that on the body, we're just going to type a body. Walk animation parameter is walk. Animation speed multiplier, we don't care about that because we're just setting a Boolean value for whether they're walking or not. If you look at the animator here, we just have a walk Boolean value. Alright, so now let's add a trigger here for mouse button. And when the mouse button triggers, we'll set the navigation destination. Oops, shouldn't go under there. Now we're going to set it on the owner. The destination, we're going to set to none. We want it to sort of be where the mouse is. And set the group to default. We can also set this to be continuous so that it'll keep setting it. And we should be able to hit play now. And we can walk around. And you can see that as soon as it stops, the animation stops. It's handling all the animation and everything. Now, one thing it's not doing is flipping the character over if we walk to the left versus the right. So let's make that happen. We can do that with another triggered action here. It's the waypoint pathing agent direction trigger. So what this will do is whenever the pathing agent changes direction, which we need to add on the waypoint pathing manager, emit directional movement events, or diagonal movement events, because we want to get those too. And then we're going to set these to west, southwest, west, and northwest. And we're going to just set that to 3. And when this happens, we're just going to do a quick thing here and add a couple of scale actions. So we'll just do X, and we'll set that to -1. So duration 0, so that will happen instantly. And then let's do this one, set it to +1, and make this an else action, so that as soon as this trigger is done triggering, it'll flip back the right way. So let's see what happens. So we're walking that way. Now we're walking this way. We flipped over. Yep. Now, the next thing here is we just walked over those rocks. We're not supposed to be able to do that. So let's make some collision geometry. So with this grid-based pathing, you have to manually add your collision geometry. And the best way to do that is to create a collider. We're going to add a box collider 2D to it. And then we're going to add a path, modify path. You need both of those things. And then we're going to check off block path. So right now, this collider is right on the player. That's not really what we want. So let's move it to this little pile of rocks here. We'll change the height to be 3 so that we've got the rocks. Let's make a duplicate of it, and then make this to be 4 and 2. Put that over there. And we can add one down here. We'll set that to be 3 and 1. All right. And then one more big one over here. We'll set to be 1 and then 15. Make that 18. There we go. All right. Let's also add some for the little trees. We'll just make those 1 by 1. And put it right there. Nope. There we go. Just duplicate that, add it to this tree, duplicate that, add it to that tree. Just go around, do a whole bunch of these. All right. So the next thing we need to do is set the layer on all of these. We want them all to be on this blockers layer that we've created. And then we can go back to the grid here, add a collider layer, and call that blockers. And now we regenerate. And let's see what happens. So if I try to path, it goes around. want to go off the map there. So it'll go around all these blockers that we've made. Well, that's pretty much it for the navigation grid pathing system. Like I said before, it works with all the other like navigation style commands. It works with the Cat RPG NPC behaviors as well. So it's very versatile and can be used in a top-down 2D RPG pretty easily, or any other type of top-down game that requires that sort of thing. So in this video, you should have learned how to set up a navigation grid, add a pathing manager to the player, allow the player to click to path to a spot and have the player sprite flip directions depending on which direction they're going. And you should have also learned how to create blockers in the path so that the player walks around things. I hope you found this video informative and useful. Let us know in the comments if there are other videos or tutorials you'd like to see. Be sure to subscribe and follow us on social media for the latest videos and other news. For more information on CAT and how it can help you build and prototype games faster, please visit catgamebuilder.com. I'm Mike Henverger with Turkey Fast Studios. Thanks for watching.